Welcome to the Mr. Phelps Show. Thank you all. 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 Really appreciate it. Really appreciate it. Thank you all. Thank you all. And welcome to the Mr. Phelps Show with coffee. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I just want to say hi to all my viewers. I'm starting a new era here on the Mr. Phelps Show. And if you don't know anything about my show, then I'm here to tell you. You're here to see it. And we got lots of coffee. Always got coffee. So, my show, here's how it works. So, a lot of times, I like to have fun with literature, I like to have fun with writing, I like to have fun with school. And that's what I try to bring on my show. A lot of times, it's heavily informational. You know, what we're learning for the week, it's all there. Makes it easy to watch it and see it so you know it and can do it. You know, online learning, that's how it works. With coffee. It's also good to throw a little bit of fun there. You know, when I was in different schools, I did literature and I brought it to life, you know, take characters out of a book, got a little interview with the character, and we learned something about that character, you know, and it's funny, a lot of the characters resemble me, but, you know, I don't know why, but just is. Anyway, if you want to be a part of this, I suggest maybe subscribing or tuning in. I have a lot of past videos on literature. I've been to many schools, so I've had a lot of followers, and trying to be big, but most importantly, I'm here for you, for your education, to help you learn and to really visualize learning, especially in a fun way whenever we can. I will say though, writing is pretty difficult because literature, reading, you can always pull a character out of a book, but writing, you're really generating ideas. So a lot of this is going to be informational, and you just gotta watch the videos, and they'll help you out with school, and we'll try to have as much fun as we can, just how it rolls. But keep in mind, I got a lot of past videos you're welcome to watch for fun, especially Lil Phelps, Cat in the Hat, rapping to Dr. Seuss, which is pretty cool. You don't see that every day. And you'll notice I also got a lot of coffee. That's just something that's been on set and just how I roll. You know, coffee gets me energized, ready to learn, ready to teach. In any case, I got a lot of videos. I'm starting a new era here. We're going to learn some writing, and we're going to go through the motions of the week, especially for distance learners. Now, if you're not a distance learner, this will still be very helpful to you in your education because I'm going to go through the processes of what we're going to do this week. So say you miss a day, or say you're out, or you just want clarification. This video is here for you. And I just want to say, I always like to start with a little fun. I'm going to try to keep up. It's tough to keep up with this because it takes a lot, but let's start with the rap of the week. Right? Rap of the week. We got Lil Phelps in the house, and he's going to come and he's going to rap for you. Alright? You ready for this? Grab your coffee. Get a quick drink. Let's get going on it. Can't write this. Can't write this. Can't write this. Can't write this. Your grammar is looking so poor. I can't read it anymore. You need a salvation. So who's going to give you an education? Have no fear. MC Grammar's here. Spouting out grammar like he's Shakespeare. Super grammar Nazi who's inviting you to the posse. You can't write. I told you, schoolboy, you can't write this. Yeah, no more texting, because you know you can't write this. So look in a book. You can't write this. Listen to my grammar rules, boy. You can't write this. I before E. You know it like that unless there's a C, so dot your I's and cross your T's. Make sure your sentences are complete. Better learn the contractions. There or there. What's a transaction? Misuse these words, and your teacher will have an allergic reaction. Don't forget how to spell, and know the difference between good and well. You can't write this. Yo, I told you can't write this. Why are you looking so confused? You can't write this. Use your spell check, boy. You can't write this. You gave me the sentence, and drama runs on and on like a never-ending saga. Why did you use so many commas? I feel like I'm getting grammar trauma. It's time to separate these clauses, make them each a sentence with punctuation pauses. Through detailed instruction, you'll learn the parts of speech and their many functions. Nouns, adjectives, verbs, and conjunctions. Can't write this. Can't write this. Can't write this. Diagram now. Stop. Grammar time. Know whether to use it's or its. One's a possessive, one's a contraction. Don't let these words be a distraction. Better know the word and its action. Make sure to position your prepositions. Capitalize words in all the right conditions. Don't let the sentences intertwine. Indent. Make a new line. Line, line, line. Yeah. Can't write this. Look, kid, you can't write this. You'll probably get stuck, boy, because you know you can't write this. Take your time. Think it out. And diagram now. Stop. Grammar time. Every time I see law, I know right. The language is so bad, it's giving me a fright. So when will I have to keep telling you to stop with the texting and think it through? Language has foundations, use less abbreviations. It's grammar, yo, grammar, yo, grammar, yo, grammar, yo. Write a full-length sentence. Can't write this. Can't write this. Diagram now. Stop. Grammar time. I told you can't write this. Better take my advice. Gonna finish here? Excellent, excellent. What did we think of that? Let's give him a round of applause. A round of applause. Let me tell you, this little Phelps guy is just a top-notch rapper. He just came out of nowhere, and he continues to deliver. And he's gonna do his best, I think, to give us a rap each week. It might not end up being that way, but we'll see. In any case, we got our rap of the week. I kind of want to move on. This is how it's going to be moving forward, so at least for now. And I want to tell you the schedule for this week, okay? So I'm going to go each day. We're going to follow the distance learning schedule. Now, if you're in class on days, it might be slightly different. The days might be flipped back and forth, but for the most part, you're going to be doing the same thing. So it might not be the same matched up, but I'm going to do the distance learning schedule. So I'm going to do each day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. All right? Just so it makes it easy. If you'll notice in the description of this video, I will also post the time when each of those days comes up. So you'll see Monday, the time will be listed, so you can click on Monday on the time, it'll take you right there. Or if you want to go to Wednesday, you click on Wednesday, it'll take you right there. So you can see the instructions specifically for that day. And then of course, if you're not distance learning, the schedule might be slightly different, but you're going to see that we do the same things, it just might be different days. In any case, let's go to Monday. Alright, so Monday, let's see what I got on my schedule here. Monday, we're going to do a PowerPoint exercise. We are going to be learning about expository / explanatory writing, and I have a PowerPoint presentation for you, including a little worksheet to make sure to check your understanding as I go through the PowerPoint. I will say that I will be giving this PowerPoint in class to those who are not distant, and to those who are distant, I am going to post the PowerPoint. I will also have a video attached in this video for Monday of me talking through the PowerPoint. Alright, so if you have any questions, you can reach out to me. The PowerPoint is going to be listed on this day. I also want to mention that each day of the week, even though we're not necessarily free writing every day, I want to give you a free writing topic. I've been on a website that gives you a lot of topics for each day. Each day, believe it or not, is its own holiday in some way, whether it's an actual holiday or whether it's just a day that people designate. So Monday the 25th. So what we have for today for writing topic, and again, these writing topics, you don't have to follow them during free writing, but they're just there. I can also give you the topic and you can adapt it. So some might say list 5 things to do, and maybe you just want to write about something that has to do with that event, okay? It's not 5 things. It could be something completely different. So Monday the 25th, the first Winter Olympics were held on January 25th, 1924. So the writing prompt today would be, what is your favorite event to watch during the Winter Olympics? And explain, all right? So again, you can do that prompt, you can adapt it to how you want, or you can do something completely different. But that's the prompt for today. Alright, so momentarily I'm going to show you the PowerPoint. We'll go through that, and then we'll switch gears to the next day, because Monday we're simply going over the PowerPoint, getting the notes, collecting notes from the PowerPoint to learn about explanatory writing. And then, of course, if you have any questions, you reach out to me. That's super important. All right? So here's the PowerPoint. Let's get going on it. All right, guys. So we're going to look at expository writing today. Make sure you have your worksheet out, your note sheets out. That was the assignment that goes along with this PowerPoint, because you're going to be filling in as we go along. It's important you have those notes because it will help you be informed about writing the essay. So let's move on with it. What is expository writing? So expository writing is describing or explaining a particular point of view, incident, event, or situation. It's presenting information, facts, statistics. Keep in mind that in expository / explanatory essay, I use those interchangeably, is not a persuasive or argumentative essay. The main intent is to give a clear, logical standpoint while remaining neutral. And what that simply means is you're going to choose a topic you're familiar or you've researched, and you're going to inform your audience about what that topic is. And you're going to tell them why it's important. Now, this does not mean that you're persuading or arguing for your topic. You're just simply informing and telling why it's important. That's what expository writing is. So just keep that in mind. It's not a persuasive or argumentative essay. So I think of a documentary. Now, not all documentaries follow an expository format, but some do. So I always think of the March of the Penguins. It's a documentary meant to inform you about the lives of the penguins, and the hardships that the penguins live. It talks about how they survive through the Antarctic weather. So that's kind of the theme of the essay, and that's an example for you for a documentary, for an explanatory essay. So
Examples of an explanatory, expository essay. So you want to have a formal language. It's an essay meant to inform, and you want to write using a formal language because that shows credibility. Remember, you're the expert here, and if you don't use a formal language, you're not going to sound like you're an expert in the topic. You need to come across as professional, somebody who the readers can trust as they read about what your topic is about. So that's why we want to be formal. We want to use facts, details, and logic to support the thesis. Again, you are the expert. Even if you don't know everything about the topic, it's okay. It's your job to research about the topic and use credible facts to support what you are talking about. So whatever you put in the topic, you do need to make sure that you know what you're talking about, and not just make it up, or you have to have credible sources. And then you want detail and explanation. It's not important that you just list the facts. Anyone can do that. They can look online and find the facts. It's your job to explain why the facts are important for this topic. Why would people want to read about it? So think of the March of the Penguins. Why do people want to learn about penguins? Like, you have to make it and sell it to your reader, but you don't want it to be persuasive. You want to inform your readers and tell them why it's important. So where do you find facts? You first start with a topic. You can't really look for facts unless you have an idea of a topic you want to write. Once you have that topic, you will consider books, articles online or printed, websites, YouTube videos, television, teachers, speeches, even famous artwork, believe it or not. And it's many more other sources depending on what you are informing about. It really depends on what you're talking about, okay? So like, if you're talking about literature, then you could look at books and articles that talk about books, things like that. But if you're looking at something, say, health related, like basketball strategies, or looking at the best basketball players today, you're probably going to look at articles. You might listen to television, and it really depends. Each topic's a little bit different. You got to know where you get that information from, and that kind of leads us into our next slides. Be careful. Not everything you see will be credible. So what do I mean by credible? How can we find out if a source is credible? So you need to ask yourself, who's the author of the source? Okay? So if we're looking for a source about LeBron James in basketball, what's going to be better? A source about somebody writing a blog about LeBron James, or an article from a credited health professor that's talking about basketball? Obviously, you're going to go with the health professor, or, a credible somebody from NBA that's writing about LeBron James who has information, than a fan writing a blog post. Okay, so you really want to look and see who's writing it, because that person has to be credible to make sure that the information you're getting is correct. Also consider how recent is the source, okay? So this isn't going to apply to all like books necessarily if you're doing literature or movies, because they were made one time and some of that hasn't changed. But if you're looking at, say, coronavirus, or you're looking at virus and medicine these days, you want a current source. So if you have something that's outdated, then that's not reliable. It's not going to help you. So you really need something current. So what is the author's purpose? It's similar to who is the author, but a little bit more to that. What is the author writing about? If they're incredibly biased or they have a strong opinion, that source may not help you out, because you're trying to be neutral here. You're trying to inform, not persuade. So you really have to look at the author's intent, and how you want to use what the author says in your own work. Okay? And then lastly, where's the source published? You don't want to use something online from Wikipedia. Wikipedia is good for a light read, but it's not good for citing and using hard facts, because people can edit it at any time. And there are people hired to make it right, but you still got to keep in mind that people can edit it anytime, can change it. So it's not reliable. You want to find it from a published website, preferably one that ends in edu or gov, because edu is an educational website and gov is a government website. The .coms and the .nets you got to be careful of, because anybody can put anything out there and it might not be a published source. So be careful of anything you find on the internet is not always true, and believe it or not, the internet does not have all the answers. Avoid Wikipedia. Again, like I said, light read, but for serious topics, don't use Wikipedia for anything school related. Structure of an expository essay. So like all essays, you want to have an intro, body paragraphs, and a conclusion. So that does not necessarily mean a 5-paragraph essay. Think about the intro. What's your purpose? Okay, that's mainly you're going to talk about what your topic is and the purpose behind it. The body paragraphs, this is going to be a range from probably 2 to 3 paragraphs. It could even be 7 to 8 small paragraphs. It really depends on what topic you choose and what format you choose, and I'll show you the formats on the next slide. But basically, it's your ideas and facts that serve your purpose. Okay, and then conclusion. Why is the purpose important? How are my ideas influential? Think about how it's relevant today, your ideas, and why people would want to read this. Like, what are you trying to get out of people? What's your message? Like, your overall message. That can be the conclusion. Keep in mind, your intro and conclusion doesn't only have to be 1 paragraph either. Those could range over a couple if you're saying introducing a lot. So the 5-paragraph essay is not really applied to every topic here. You know, you want to go with what format fits. So depending on the topic, these paragraphs can be organized slightly differently. So keep in mind, your thesis is your purpose. It's not just what you are writing about, but also why you are interested in the topic and why the topic is important. So your thesis should not just be the topic itself, but it should be a statement that tells why the topic is important. Okay? So types of expository essays. Okay, I'm going to go through these. Not going to stop on every one and go in depth, but I'm going to kind of read them through and stop here and there to explain it a little bit further. So like compare and contrast essay. You want to compare 2 similar things. So red apples versus green apples. If you did apples and oranges, they're too different. It doesn't work. They have to be really similar. So red apples versus green apples. Now, keep in mind, this essay format, body paragraphs, I wouldn't only say 3 body paragraphs, because you can do a paragraph on red apples, one aspect of red apples, a paragraph on an aspect of green apples, and then you do another aspect of red apples, another aspect of green apples. That gives me 4 body paragraphs to start. So you don't only use 3 body paragraphs. It really depends on the type of essay. Cause and effect essay, describing how one cause leads to an effect. Some examples are social media addiction, climate change. And again, there's many more, but those are just a couple. Problem and solution essay. It's very similar to cause and effect. You analyze a problem and find the solution. And then a prime example is coronavirus. You've probably heard about it way too many times, and you might not even want to write about it anymore because it's been here and we've over-talked it. But it's a topic that you can talk about the cause and then the effect. So there's other ones out there too. So this is an interesting one, a process or how-to essay. So it's a step-by-step process of how to do something. So for example, cooking. Cooking works well for this. Or maybe how to repair a bike. I don't know, just throwing out ideas. So one possible example is how to make an apple pie. So in your intro, you would talk about apple pies, why they're important. And then your body paragraphs, you do a step each body paragraph. So you're probably going to want more than 3 body paragraphs here, maybe even 7 to 8 shorter body paragraphs, with each one being a step on how to make an apple pie. Again, it doesn't have to be long, 7 to 8 small paragraphs. Then your conclusion could be, where are apple pies relevant today? Why do people use them? Why are they so important? Why does this even matter? Type of thing. You're going to kind of sum it up and give that next level to people, like, why are you telling me this? How can we use it today? So A lot of you will probably like how-to essay, but just keep in mind, it's probably not going to be successful if you stick to 3 body paragraphs. You're probably going to have to do a body paragraph for each step in the process. Definition essay. You're going to give a complete description of a topic and have a definition of a topic and extend it out. So, for example, if you're doing the definition of books or the definition of the word love would even be better, you're going to talk about love. The definition will be in your intro, and then your body paragraphs could be different ways people interpret love, and then your conclusion could be more about where we see love today and how love is in action and that type of thing. So, again, definition, it's more than just the definition. You give the definition, but you extend it to different scenarios. Classification essay. So this is an interesting one too. You're going to separate a topic into different groups and categories. So example, if you were doing shoes or different types of shoes, maybe you want to talk about Nike shoes, New Balance shoes. I can't think of any. Skechers shoes. Maybe each paragraph is a different kind of shoes, a different name brand shoes, and in your intro and conclusion, they have to come together in some way. But in your body paragraphs, you could talk about how they're different, the different types. So just keep in mind, your topics have to be related. Okay, for classification essay, you're just going to talk about the slight differences. So those are some expository essay examples. This week, we're going to look at the Grand Mosque of Paris, and we're going to find the elements of an expository essay in that. You're going to have an assignment to do with that just after this PowerPoint or later this week. So where do you start with your own essay? So you can't write about a topic unless you know about a topic. So that means you need to do research. Even if you know a topic very well, you still need credible sources besides yourself. You need to do your research, get sources to develop what you are saying about the topic. Think about what you already know. What are you learning in reading, math, science, social studies? These are great ways to develop ideas and inform about. You're going to do an article analysis where I'm going to assign you to one of these subjects, reading, math, science, and social studies. You're going to get an article from one of those fields of knowledge, and you're going to analyze that source. When you're done doing that, we're going to come together as a group, and we're going to look at all these sources. So you're essentially going to have notes on all 4 subjects you're learning about, which will give you so many different ideas for an explanatory, expository essay. So it's going to come together. You're going to have ideas to start off with. So expository essay plan. Find a topic you like about. Again, we're going to work together as a class to develop a bunch of ideas, but ultimately you need to be the one to determine what you want to write about. So you're going to have a plan from there. You'll either fill out a plan worksheet or we'll talk about it. You'll probably fill out an outline that plans what you're going to write. From there, you're going to find at least 3 credible sources that has to do with your topic. You're going to use a source worksheet to do this. So I'm going to give you a worksheet, and you're going to look and see where you can find appropriate sources that meet this topic. You're going to start writing the body paragraphs. It's always good to start with the body paragraphs because that's going to get you to write the intro and conclusion. So we're not writing the intro first. We're starting in the middle, in the body, because I want to get the information you get from that topic. And from there, you're already going to find out what's important about the topic, and you can go back and write your intro and conclusion. When we're done with everything, you're going to review for errors and peer review. So that's super important, getting a peer's perspective to help you work on the essay. And then turn it in. You got this. All right, good job. The next slide is MLA citation. I don't want to overload you, so we're going to revisit this later on, probably next week or the following week. So make sure you have the notes on expository, explanatory essay. Write them down on your sheet. We'll go to MLA citation later on. Good job today, guys.
All right, so now you know the unit. We're starting with explanatory writing. Hopefully you've done some of that before, and hopefully you get going and start thinking about ideas, because you will be writing an explanatory essay somewhere down the line. That was simply to just start you off. And now we're going to go into Tuesday. I'm going to tell you the writing prompt, and then I'm going to tell you what primarily we're doing, which is more no-red ink work. Okay, so it's important that we're all caught up with no-red ink. We're signed up and we're ready to go. I'm going to kind of give you a quick video on the sign-up process again, but also kind of some examples of how that program goes, and make sure you understand the 3 parts as we go, because sometimes you're going to have to do a couple of parts together, at least the beginning ones, before you move on to the rest. So without further ado, let's go to Tuesday. Alright, so Tuesday. Again, I mentioned it would be no-red ink. Before we do that, writing prompt of the day. Tuesday, the 26th of January, we have Australia Day. So Australia first settled in 1788. Learn 5 facts about Australia and summarize in your own words. Okay, so you can take this prompt any way you want. You can do the 5 facts from Australia, put it in your own words. Or if I was looking at this prompt, I'd probably be like, there's a lot of animals in Australia. I'm going to pick an animal and I'm going to explain that animal to you, or talk about that animal. It's a good prep for your explanatory essay. You know, choosing an animal, talking about the animal. Good way to get you into the mood of explanatory essay. That's what I do, but you can adapt it in any way you want to, or you can do your own prompt for Tuesday. But that's the Tuesday prompt. I forgot to mention, these will also be posted as a PDF on our class page, so you'll be able to see what each one is each day. But I want to make sure you know it in this video as well. Excellent. So now we'll get into no-red ink. So what you're going to do for Tuesday no-red ink is, 1, make sure you're all signed up, which everybody should be because we went over that at the end of last week. 2, make sure the diagnostic/pretest is complete. I labeled this as number 1 on there. Okay, number 1 sentence practice or sentence pretest. Okay, so it's listed as number 1. Everybody should be done with that. If you're not, then you'll have a little bit more to do today, because you're also going to do number 2 sentence practice. This is the actual practice lesson. So for today, you're going to do number 1 sentence pretest if you haven't, and then sentence practice. You're going to practice with sentences. Keep in mind, we are going to have a quiz on Friday based off of this practice. Okay, so to be well prepared, you need to complete both of these assignments. Now, if you need a little bit and you want to take a little more time, like, you can have until Wednesday to finish the practice, but just keep in mind that you got to get it done. You know, if you want to do well in the quiz, the success for these quizzes is done by doing the practice, okay, and the pretest. If you don't do those, you're probably not going to do well in the quiz. It's just how it is. So that's how it is. As you can see, I have the video rolling. I'm just showing you where you can access this stuff. I'm going into a little specifics with sentences. A lot of this is basic sentences, knowing fragments versus sentences, okay? A lot of you have made run-on sentences where you have a bunch of different ideas all together. And my advice to you is keep your sentences short and sweet, okay? Make sure it has a subject and a predicate. What that means is make sure the sentence has to do about something or someone, and make sure whatever that something or someone is doing is part of the sentence, okay? You don't want to start with something like, even though we went hiking, okay? Because even though we went hiking is not a sentence on its own. You have to put a second part to that. Even though we went hiking, we were very thirsty and wanted more coffee. That's a complete sentence. So you have to make sure that your phrases are put together to make a complete sentence. You're saying a complete thought, okay? That's how this works on No Red Ink. If it's not a complete thought, or it's part of a thought, it's a fragment, which means you need a second part to it, that's not a sentence, okay? There's also other cases where you put too many fragments together that you lose sight of what the sentence means. So you want to make sure that your sentences are short, sweet, have a point, and have a purpose. That's what this lesson is about, to make you a better writer and make sure we have a subject and predicate that flows within sentences. All right? So obviously, if you have questions with the sentences, you can always run them by me. This is practice, should be pretty much review, and it's going to make you a better writer. So make sure you complete the practice. The quiz is going to be same type of problems, okay? It's not going to trick you and do something that is not included in the pretest or the practice. Same type of problems. So you have to make sure you're going through the grammar and learning it well and understanding it. And you reach out to me if something doesn't make sense. All right? Any questions, let me know. So moving on, we'll go into Wednesday. All right? So I think we summed up Tuesday. Let's get ready to go into Wednesday right after this sip. All right, Wednesday, writing topic of the day, Wednesday the 27th. So we have in 1832, the author Lewis Carroll was born. If you don't know who Lewis Carroll was, he wrote Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. Okay, so this was a pretty big book at the time. We know Disney adapted this book, made it into its own thing. It's also been made into movies, Alice in Wonderland. Okay, so write about all you know of this book or series, and who is your favorite character and why. If you don't know much about Alice in Wonderland, then maybe this topic isn't for you. But if you know even a little bit about it, you can talk about it here and think about what happened in the text. Think about how the different versions are different. Or you could take one aspect from the book and talk about it. Who knows? It's something there for you to think about and to write about. Okay. Keep in mind, these are also things we can talk about at the beginning of class to kind of icebreakers in class. We don't only have to write these. We can talk about these and get us thinking before we start the writing process. Excellent. So that's your writing prompt for today. So Wednesday, we are going to look at an example of an explanatory essay. So we talked about it in the PowerPoint, and now I'm going to give you the PDF of the document. This is straight from your book. We're going to use the online book, and I believe you've also seen this in reading class. You looked at this to take notes. Now, what I'm going to have you do is look at this piece. I believe it's the Great Mosque of Paris, going off of the top of my head. And I want you to find the pieces of the explanatory essay in this essay. All right, I want you to identify what makes it an explanatory essay. Think about putting it through like a test or a shredder and saying, hey, how is this an explanatory essay? Okay, so you're going to read the essay over, and I'm going to mention the parts of an explanatory essay, and you're going to connect those pieces together. You're going to highlight the parts that connect to it being an explanatory essay and identify them. So this is simply just recognizing an explanatory essay, recognizing the parts of it. And that's all you're really doing, just so I can check your understanding and know you know what an explanatory essay is and the parts of it. And then, of course, if you didn't finish any other No Red Ink work, you'd finish that up today too, so that you're all set for the quiz on Friday. If there's any questions, reach out to me. Should be pretty straightforward. You'll have to connect to the book website here, and you will have a separate document that I'm having you look at that goes with your highlighted statements. So look for that doc. That's going to be your assignment, and then go on the website as well to read it. And you should be good for Wednesday and understanding explanatory essay. So notice how we looked at the parts of it in a PowerPoint, and now we're kind of putting it into action to identify one. So we're doing this before we eventually write our own explanatory essay. Excellent. So that's it for Wednesday. Let's get going on to Thursday now. What are we doing today? Well, let's look at our prompts. We actually got 2 prompts today that came up, all right? 2 prompts. So Thursday the 28th. Here they are. If you don't like one, you got the other, or you got your own. Ernie's birthday from Sesame Street. Interesting. So the question is, if you could create a TV show for kids, what would it be? What would the name be? What info would it include? All right, Sesame Street is a show that's been done across the world, in different parts of the world differently, and it's amazing what they did. It's a show that educates people, educates children all over the place, with many different cultures and many different heritages. Very interesting show. So that's what that's about. And if you could make your own kids show, what would you call it? What would you include in it? What info? And what would you name it? Something to think about. And then, of course, for those who want maybe a different kind of topic, which is very different, in 1915 the U.S. Coast Guard was founded. So list 5 facts about the Coast Guard and their responsibilities. Just make sure to use your own words. Again, you can take this and list the 5 facts, or you could say whatever you want about the U.S. Coast Guard or something similar. So that's something to think about, something to write about, and the writing topic of the day. So now, Thursday, we are getting into the thick of article analysis. As I did earlier in the weeks, hopefully you remember, I had you do a journal on what subject you like. And I'm going to give 4 different articles to the class. I tried to split everybody up to what they liked, but it might not be exact. In any case, you're going to get an article about the Holocaust in reading class, or an article similar to reading what you're learning, an article in social studies similar to the Revolutionary War, an article in science that has to do with space, or an article in math, which is going to be completely using math outside of the box. It has to do with, I believe, plants and math. So you're going to get one of these articles, and then you are going to look at the article as a trustworthy source. You're going to list where the source was published, who wrote the source, what information you get, what the source is about. You're going to kind of do this little scavenger hunt of things to understand the source and decipher whether it's a reliable source. So keep in mind, you're only going to get one of these articles, okay? You're not going to get all 4. If you want to look at all 4, knock yourself out and do it. I'm only assigning one to you, okay? So you'll know which one you're assigned to, so just keep in mind, look out for that. I'll let you know. And you're going to fill out the worksheet for that one. The intention is, early next week, we meet together, we discuss all 4 articles, and you fill out the other sheets as notes. So if you notice, your worksheet has 4 sheets for 4 different articles. You only need to fill out 1 for your article. The other 3, we are going to meet together, and we're going to talk about all the articles in general, and you're going to fill out as notes. So, what that means, students, is that when you walk away from this assignment, you're going to have 4 different topics and mini topics within those that you have for an explanatory essay. You're going to have 4 different viewpoints for math, science, social studies, and reading. And you can choose any one of those, or you can choose something completely different, but you'll have the legwork done for an idea for explanatory writing. If you remember, explanatory writing is about it can be about anything, really. So we don't want to just limit ourselves to reading class, or limit ourselves to, one way of thinking. We want to open our minds to all these different ideas. So that's kind of the intention behind this. You do one article, we meet together, you get the information for 4 articles, and then you can even use those sources towards your explanatory essay, or you use those sources to help you develop more ideas for your explanatory essay. So it's a really good assignment that'll help you understand what makes a reliable source, help you brainstorm ideas for an explanatory essay, and help you get into the feel of writing an explanatory essay and thinking about it. So it will really help you in the right direction there. And hopefully it'll give you some confidence into finding something you want to write about. Excellent. So that's what we have for Thursday. Kind of a loaded assignment. Again, we're going to revisit it next week, and you'll kind of understand, what is a good source and what we need for the explanatory essay. There's also a question on there about MLA citation. You can try that. If you don't get it, then do your best to figure it out. And if you're really stuck, we'll go into that next week. We'll go into that a little bit more, because MLA citation is so important with sources that we really need to understand it moving forward, especially going into high school and college, and it's super important. So do your best, and if that's confusing, we will touch on that question later on. You're going to be graded between answering the first 9 questions. It's going to be a 10-point assignment where, as long as you answer it accurately and you show me you cared and took your time, then you'll get credit for doing it. The last question, MLA, I just want you to attempt and do your best, and we will revisit that. All right? Make sense? Excellent. So let's go into Friday now. Friday, end of the week. I like to do this on a lot of Fridays. Well, first of all, I'll go over our free writing topic. Free writing. National Puzzle Day. What is your favorite type of puzzle to solve and why? Okay, so you can take that in any direction. Remember, puzzles don't have to be just a puzzle on a board. I mean, you go through a maze, a corn maze, that's a puzzle. You could think of a puzzle in a different way. I bet you could make a cool poem in the form of a puzzle that you put together. There's a ton of different things you can do with this topic. Or you can choose your own topic. So Friday, you should already know one thing we have if you listen to my other days, that we have a quiz on No Red Ink. Okay, 20-point quiz. This counts. The lessons are on sentences, which comes directly related to what you did on your practice and what you did on your diagnostic pretest. So we will be taking that quiz in class or remotely or distance learning. However, wherever you are, you'll be taking that quiz, and you'll be getting a grade back on sentence structures. Keep in mind, I also forgot to say this earlier, but if you're watching this ahead of time, I also will put some sentence activities to do to prepare for the quiz on Friday, just outside of No Red Ink. If you want to do something, there's like a Jeopardy game that you can kind of do on your own and have fun with. So you can do that before you even take the quiz if you're distance learning. So it's out there. So we're going to take that quiz. That won't take the whole time. So I also want you to free write. This is a free write Friday. Free write Friday. I want to try to bring that around every Friday. Might not work because we got a lot of stuff to cover, but I do want you to choose a free writing topic and write about something. Something that's interesting, something that's fun. You got all the writing topics here. You can look up other writing topics online. You have my doc with at least 20 free writing assignments, or you can come up with your own free writing assignments. But I want you to write something of substance and turn it in after you do the quiz, just so I can see that you've started something. So that about wraps up the week, and I'll kind of spring forward into next week momentarily. But I just wanted to kind of wrap up Friday, make sure you got it, and that's what we have. All right, so now it's time to look forward and end my show, my wonderful talk show, and yeah, we'll get going on that. First of all, I want to say thank you for coming to my show today. It's been a pleasure having you, and I don't know if I don't think I told you this in the beginning, but you know, this all started when distance learning happened about a year ago, and I wanted to broadcast to my students. So I became an undercover talk show host, and that's why I'm here. The multi-talented Mr. Phelps, you know, teacher, undercover talking show host, you know, someone who hosts interviews, someone who hosts, you know, game show hosts. I've done it all in the Mr. Phelps Show, and you know, I'm here to give you an education. This is my talk show, and you know, I forgot to mention the simplest thing. It's a talk show with coffee, with interviews, with talking about literature and writing and all this fun stuff. Come on, guys. That's what it's about. So, anyway, we're about to conclude our show. Just want to point you forward a little bit and let you know that next week we're going to go deeper into article analysis. We're going to meet together to talk about those articles. Potentially that's what we're hoping to do. If, you know, figure that out, we'll meet together, talk about the articles. Might be a little bit different for those distance learners, but we're still going to get the information. Then I'm going to give you your own article analysis scavenger hunt, where you're now going to choose a topic for an explanatory essay. And you're going to go out and look at 3 sources that can cover that topic. Okay, 3 different sources. So you're going to look at that. So then you get a better understanding of sourcing. And you're going to cite them. We're going to go over MLA citation so you understand that. And then you're really getting closer to starting your explanatory essay. We're choosing topics, going through ideas, and going through articles and resources. And you're almost ready to start writing the essay. It's going to be there. Excellent. So I haven't thought about No Red Ink yet. That will be coming back, whether it's next week or the following week or sometime in the future. Just be ready to know that grammar exercises will be coming back. Again, this just about covers everything. I thank you for coming. Oh yeah, if you got any fun poems, raps you want Lil Phelps to look at and possibly perform, you know, you do them in free writing, you know, that's an option. Send them in, and who knows, I mean, maybe it will be the next piece, as long as it's, you know, appropriate and well read and well thought out, well put together. We'll see. It's a possibility, you know. Lil Phelps, the man, the myth, the legend. I didn't name him. He got named. Anyway, thank you guys for today, for coming, viewing my show, and we'll see you next time on the Mr. Phelps Show! Thank you. Really appreciate it, guys. Have a good week. Remember, writing is fun, and so is coffee. Thank you. Woo! Here we go. Take care, my friends.